But are Democratic leaders listening? Congresswoman Bustos joins us right now here on set. Great to see you again. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
She reminds me we met at the congressional baseball game when I threw out the first pitch.
Yeah.
I did throw out a good first pitch.
I think it was a strike, and it would have had some heat behind it.
Yeah. Couple bounces.
So you think I don't know about baseball? I maybe don't want to talk about it, but I like to play it. Okay.
There's nothing about
so how
baseball.
do they? I do.
So go ahead.
All right, so what are they saying? Secret weapon. What does it mean to really connect with voters, potentially in Trump country?
Well, so a little background on my district. I represent the entire northwestern portion of the state of Illinois. Illinois has 18 members of Congress. All of the Democrats in our congressional delegation are in the Chicagoland area, except for me. Okay, so if you picture the state of Illinois, you know, you have Chicago in the northeast part of it. Everything else is Republican except for the district that I represent. And so the voters made a decision to vote for President Obama in 08, in 12, and then there was an 18-point swing to vote for President Trump in 2016. So just a very big shift.
So you're in one of those districts that voted for President Obama and then voted for Donald Trump.
Right, right.
So how did you win in the year of Donald Trump?
Well, so I ended up winning by 20 points. And I think that is why some folks in my caucus say, you know, what in the heck are you doing? Joe, when we were talking just before this started, it's not rocket science. You show up, you go to towns that have 500 people, you go to the cattle auction barn in Fairview, Illinois, and you listen more than you talk. And then you take what you have heard and you do something like introduce legislation that reflects that, or you write legislation that reflects that. And you work hard. I think people's expectations of any elected official, whether you're mayor, city council, Congress, you work hard because, in our case, we make a pretty good wage. Right. You fight when you have a fight on your hands because there's all kinds of fights, and then you get results. Even though we're in the minority, there are ways to get results.
So let me ask you, what are Democrats, national Democrats, missing? What are people around this table missing? What are most people in the media, national media, missing on the question of why a voter would vote for Barack Obama and then vote for Donald Trump? And why you can't say, oh, they're racist, or they're stupid, or they're out of touch, because after all, they were the enlightened few 8 years ago, according to many of these same people.
Yeah, well, I would never think of saying that about people in my congressional district. I can tell you the people in my district who have seen companies like Maytag ship every last one of those 1,500 jobs over to Mexico, or a company like Sensata that Bain Capital bought out and then shipped all those jobs over to China. People feel like we haven't been fighting for them. So what I do, as far as when I do talk, I talk about nothing but the economy. You know, if I'm asked about an issue that might be somewhat divisive, I answer it, and I answer it honestly. But then I say, but what I'm spending my time on is the economy, to make sure that people who have felt like they've been left behind, that they don't feel that way anymore, that we're listening and that we're doing something about it.
Beyond the list, now translate that to me, the talking points. Right now, you're in charge of the new Democratic platform because you've been the fair-haired child that's done it right. Give me the paragraph that the Democrats should be speaking.
It's that, and I know you guys have talked about this, but we are offering a better deal, and that is the whole foundation of that, is that it's better jobs, better wages, and a better future for Americans, and that we have legislation that backs that up.
Jobs.
Jobs. I say that I met with our editorial board at the newspaper where I used to work. I was a newspaper reporter for 17 years. And I said, you know, I'm talking about 5 things. And it's jobs, education, jobs, and jobs. And that education part of it is that we as Democrats are calling for a doubling of our investment in apprenticeship programs, getting people ready for the jobs of the future.
Congresswoman, I covered Hillary Clinton, and I got to say, I feel she kind of did that. So, you know, talked about investing in the future and green energy, and creating a new generation of jobs. But the more appealing message to these voters was bringing back the old jobs. So is it also not just the message, but the messenger? And what are you looking for in these new candidates that's different from the last wave of recruits? Is it newcomers? Is it kind of like doing the version of what Republicans did in terms of just bringing in people who don't have any association with the national party brand? Or what is it then also in the messenger?
Well, Hillary Clinton is as smart as they come, as far as I'm concerned. But she did have, I think the number is 298 different policy proposals. And yeah, many of them did address jobs, but we have to simplify this. And to your point, it is jobs. It is the economy. And when President Trump is tweeting in the middle of the night, and we all wake up and look at our phone first thing and realize, well, today he's talking about kneeling, talking about disparagingly about a Gold Star mother or a member of Congress. What we have to do is, if we get asked about that from the media, is answer that and say, but you know what, but this is just one other diversion that's getting us away from focusing on the economy. I'm on the Transportation Committee. I've been telling people back home, I still have confidence that we're going to get a $1 trillion transportation package passed. And I hope that will happen. It's where Democrats and Republicans can come together. But we're not going to get anything done if we keep focusing, whether it's the president or whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans, if we're focusing on all of these diversions. And to your point about the candidates, we have some amazing candidates running in these tough districts in the Midwest, in the heartland, and they fit those districts. And I think that is what the secret is going forward. It's got to be people who their views are similar to those of people who live in the districts.
Congresswoman, I hear jobs and the economy a lot, but the economy grew at 3% last quarter. Unemployment is under 5%. We're at full employment. Is it possible that this isn't about the economy? Is it possible that Democrats have gone too culturally far left?
Well, tell that to the people in a county that might have 15,000 people, an entire county. Where the county is made up of towns of 200 people, where they have seen these jobs go to Mexico and China, where they are losing hope that their kids will want to stay in that community, and they're losing hope for the future of their entire region that might be the state of Illinois or it might be in the Midwest.
I mean, aren't we talking about a much more societal shift where you actually had jobs in your region that might have paid $30 an hour? They left, and if they do come back, you're getting $14 an hour, maybe $15.
Working 2 or 3 jobs to support your family,
and still not being able to,
and still not being able, not having, not knowing what they're going to do with their child care expenses. The question I ask when I do something called Supermarket Saturdays, and I just walk the aisles and I have these one-on-one conversations with people. The question I love to ask is, were you able to take a vacation last year? And the other question I like to ask is, what do you do for fun? Because that gets down to, do they have any discretionary income? I met this home care nurse who has a husband who works full-time. She works full-time. They have 2 little kids. And I said, what do you do for fun? And her answer was, we have cable television. I mean, that's good for MSNBC, but her point is they can't afford to go to the movies and buy popcorn and soda. They get their entertainment by watching movies on cable. So, and MSNBC, I'm sure.
There you go, Congresswoman Sherry Bustos.
I highly doubt it.
From so much.
Boy,
nice to see you.
That is a rough life.
We can play baseball while they talk baseball.
Throw our first pitch out again next year, okay?
I'll do it.
Coming up next, what could be the largest health insurance deal ever? And Twitter tries to keep Russia from spreading propaganda on its network. Morning Joe, coming right back.